Welcome to the Women That Get Shit Done, the podcast for busy, brilliant women who juggle life, work, pets, and somehow manage to remember where the gift receipts are. Money talks, dirty cash, I want you, dirty cash, I need you all. Today's episode is called Grab a Bargain because, let's be honest, Black Friday, Cyber Monday and Christmas shopping season have all turned us into full-time detectives, bargain hunters and occasionally feral humans. We're diving into the expectations, the pressure, the should I really be buying this debates, the retail therapy highs, the ADHD add to baskets and the absolute chaos that is hunting for deals while maintaining sanity. So please grab your coffee, hide your debit card, and let's talk about the madness, the magic, and the myths of the shopping season. With zero judgment and a whole lot of laughs, let's get into it. So, Michaela, for many women, the end of the year brings lots of expectations. From gifts to buy, hostings, decorating the house, the social media posts, wanting everything to look perfect. How do you feel about that pressure? Or I just don't give a shit?
So it depends on the person, really. So there is a lot of pressure. You have to think about what other people want as opposed to what you really want. So personally, I'm of an age where I'm in the I don't give a shit mindset because, I'm not young anymore. I'm not as a kid. You wanted everything all the time. As I can imagine for my mum, there was a lot of pressure. Now I work. And if there's something that I want or I need, I tend to buy it when I want or I need it. And then you end up feeling like you have to buy gifts for people based on what you think they want or need rather than something they actually maybe want or need. Hence the gift receipts, because then people can take stuff back and exchange it for something they actually want or need. So there is a lot of pressure around at this time of year to show that you've listened to what the people have said throughout the year, to show that you care by having listened. And yeah, I feel that with some people.
We must apologise, actually, that Dr. Sarah Hopp isn't here today because she would be a great one to give some insight into neurodiverse people, the pressures of Christmas, Cyber Monday and Black Friday shopping. I do find that with my photography workshop audiences, there's always that extra cost. So for photographers, it's always about, I need the latest lens, I need the latest camera, I need the latest flash, I need the latest iPhone, I need the latest everything, I need the latest drone. So Christmas actually becomes a trigger for spending, not necessarily for others, but as a services business owner, then it's actually about doing that feral human hunting around manic detective thing to get the best bargain for the equipment that I need. But do I really need it? I suppose that's the question, isn't it?
So yeah, it does come down to a question of need and want. And as you say, there's that impulsivity. Thinking of some neurodivergent conditions such as ADHD, there is that impulsive buying. But then actually we get a lot of that from other things as well. You think about addictions or keeping up appearances, keeping up with the Joneses. We don't necessarily buy things because we need them, but we buy things because other people have them, or it gives us some sort of pleasure. So I suppose thinking about what you were saying with your courses that you sell, I suppose there will be people that look at the person next to them with their bigger lens or their better iPhone and think, well, I could do so much more with this new bit of equipment, when actually do they need that, or are there things that haven't unlocked that they don't know about with the equipment that they've already got? And I suppose that's what you go through with them on your courses.
Yeah, so there is a discussion in the sessions about what equipment they need. And obviously, with the beginner, turn up with whatever camera you've got. And then we have a whole discussion about lenses and what they need for their niche of photography. So there's no point somebody buying a lovely £3,000 lens or up to an £18,000 sports lens if they're going to do a portrait of their pet. They should be donating that lens to me. But now I'm older, it's about need and functionality as opposed to necessarily keeping up with the Joneses, as you say. I know that some universities use cameras from 10, 20 years ago. It was like one of my first cameras, um, that they use that for their university degree students. So that just goes to prove actually it's not about the latest camera, it's about what you're going to use it for.
Mm. And actually, there's a huge trend, I think, at the moment for vintage equipment, isn't there? For people to actually rummage around and find those old, again, thinking about cameras, old bits of kit. There's been a resurgence recently on Polaroids and all those sort of other tech. Think about vinyls come back big time in the last sort of 5-10 years. But at the same time, then it's not about people our age that are looking back on their youth buying those things. It's now young people as well buying vinyl, and then comes with that new trend to them.
Which is a really good one, actually, considering the new John Lewis advert.
Yeah, well, yeah, John Lewis.
They won't be sponsoring us. What would you say were your top tips for actually getting through this Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Boxing Day season?
Planning. If you are limited, have a budget and stick to it. Take a moment to pause and think, what does this person actually want? It might be the trend, the in thing to buy X, Y, and Z, but do they want it? Do they need it? Can I afford it? And actually, sometimes it's the more personal touch, the more thoughtful thing. So I was out for dinner with some family last night, and one of my relatives was telling me how their son likes to make gifts, likes to make things that the person will really enjoy. So the relative I was talking to really has a thing for nuts. He loves eating nuts, and that's great.
Wonder where we're going with that.
My uncle loves eating nuts.
Is that walnuts, hazelnuts, or are we on a pair of almonds?
Let me compose myself. Yes, so my uncle loves eating nuts, and so his son this last year made him some chocolate covered almonds, and made them himself. Lovely gift packaging, and it was a really thoughtful present that he knew his dad would like, and it didn't cost him a load of money at a time where he's being careful with his money, doing up his house and planning for his future. I would say think about what you can do within your budget. And sometimes, yes, someone might really want the latest thing, but actually showing that you care about someone by giving something so personal and meaningful to them is going to have a much more lasting impression.
Can I try your cousin's nuts, please?
Well, apparently he made chocolate covered ones for my uncle, and no, or was it chocolate? No, it might have been chocolate covered ones for my aunt, and honey and pepper covered cashews or something like that for my uncle. One of them got sweet and savoury nuts, and one of them got chocolate nuts.
That's okay, I'll just have them naked.
You like naked nut, okay?
Especially cracked. So, any other tips do you think for avoiding the Christmas budget, Christmas overspend?
Yeah, we'll put a spending cap. Buy early. Don't get into panic mode. Don't go out on Christmas Eve, last minute panic buying, and then just end up buying a whole load of stuff that nobody actually wants. And also think about maybe an experience, thinking about something that isn't just going to be gratification on Christmas Day, but maybe something that will go into the new year.
Like that.
And again, that can be that more personal touch.
Could that be like a skipping rope and telling them to get fit after Christmas?
I was thinking more about going out on a day trip or something like that, because then that's not only giving someone, some of those gift experiences, taking someone out for an afternoon tea. My mum loves afternoon tea, but also then that's spending quality time with that person because it's you doing it with them. So it's two gifts in one.
Many women, including myself, I've used shopping to make myself feel better, either consciously or subconsciously. So that could be after a stressful day, and you go there again, just to make me feel better. I deserve this. So, what does retail therapy look like for you? Or are you the controlled one?
Well, so for me personally, I'm I'm more of a shop when I need to person, except when it comes to chocolate. So if I have a retail therapy, it will be buying the chocolate, but then I also get the double therapy from eating the chocolate. What it can signify, that need for retail therapy, is the filling of a void of something else. So if we think about addictions, for example, people that have a shopping addiction, they're looking to fill some other emotional gap. It could be a lack of love, self worth, self esteem. There are many things that can trigger an addiction. Thinking about neurodivergence, it could be about that dopamine hit, that feeling, that pleasure, that reward signal that goes between our brain and our body. So that feeling of excitement that someone can get from retail therapy. Yeah. So there are lots of reasons why people choose to have retail as their therapy. Some of them can be healthy, some of them not so much. Well, because what the chemical messages that we get between body and brain when dopamine is in the body is that kind of that feeling, that pleasurable feeling that we get from having purchased something, and then it's sort of like I want more. It reinforces the behaviors that are essential for survival. So dopamine is important, such as eating and social interaction, but at the same time it can cause us to do things that aren't as healthy if we haven't got the money to spend, and yet we still go ahead and buy things because it gives us that happy feeling. That's when that dopamine hit can cause us a problem. So, for example, I have a former client who spent a lot of their savings on a certain toy product, and all of their savings that they'd amassed over a good few years were suddenly gone because the feeling that they were getting from the deliveries coming through the door. So yes, and then that, could potentially cause problems in their relationship.
When you look at neurodiversity, then, do you think conditions like ADHD, do you think they're more affected because of that impulsivity?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the trigger. There's something that your brain is wanting, and the impulsivity that people with ADHD have, the other parts of their brain that would normally say no, that's not sensible, they don't engage, or they're drowned out by the many other voices that are going on all at the same time. But you've got all of those things firing in your brain at the same time, and so the sensible voice that says no, let's not buy that, that's not necessarily heard. So yeah, when we think about neurodivergent conditions like ADHD, that need for instant gratification can take over, and so spending can be part of that when it comes to a bad or a unhealthy habit.
So would you say then it's better for a neurodiverse person to go shopping alone or shopping with someone else or sit at home and do it all online or give somebody else their credit card? And all of the above.
I would say none of the above. It's hard, isn't it? Because something like ADHD, for example, people as a child, pre-diagnosis, they're generally told things like, why are you so difficult? Why are you so this? Why are you so that? Why can't you be good? Why can't you be normal? So then if you were to have to go shopping with someone and have someone there to say to you, don't do this, don't do that, that's just reinforcing those messages that they were given as a child, that have probably led to a lot of other feelings such as anxiety, depression, rejection. So I'd say they shouldn't have to go shopping on their own. Shopping can be a pleasurable experience that's something social. They shouldn't have to go shopping with someone to prevent them from buying things that they don't necessarily need or can't afford. If they're sat at home on their own, that's, and spending money online, that's not necessarily healthy either, and can lead to isolation. I would say ADHD and other neurological conditions are just a part of someone. So they should be able to do all the things that everybody else can do without feeling that they have to be different in how they do them.
So I know plenty of people who would go out on Black Friday and go absolutely manic with their Christmas list and then go, 2 for them, 1 for me, 2 for them, 1 for me, 5 for me, 1 for you, not really sure what I'm going to do with it. Can you think of some strategies that may have stopped them from actually going absolutely manic and making John Lewis lots of money? Please sponsor us, John Lewis.
Well, I mean, going back to what you just asked about going with someone, if they know that that is an issue, then ask a friend to go with them and help them to monitor that behaviour. That does come to then down to sort of limiting access to where you can go or how much you can spend, taking a moment to pause, to think, delay going out and buying straight away or grabbing all of the things that you see in the first shop. Maybe have a walk around first, make a list of the things that you see, and then you think, oh, actually, then I'll go back and get X, Y, and Z. You might want to set a timer, a restriction on how long you've got to go shopping, coming up with a list. Anybody that knows me knows I love a list. But again, that can come down to some people having a list and having ticked off an item off a list can give them that same dopamine hit as buying an item. And thinking about what works for you or what you need to help you stopping doing a behaviour.
Sounds really good. So for our audience, just throwing it out there as well, because it is a tough time of year. If you think you have ADHD or a neurodiversity trait and your spending or your shopping feels out of control, or you feel different from your peers, then it is worth going to your doctor and trying to get a diagnosis or speaking to a professional about it, because it's not just about a discipline of willpower. But we'll include some links in the podcast notes. This is where Dr. Sarah Hopp will be very good at this. And we will hopefully signpost you on the right route. Thanks, Michaela. It's been really interesting. And I hope our listeners have picked up some real life, actionable, quick wins from that. Because Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and the whole bank holiday period should not be stressful. It should be enjoyable and pleasurable, be that with your loved ones or your pets or your friends and the rest of your family.
So, ladies, this is where you come in. We would love you to share with us one thing that you will not buy this Christmas. Maybe that's something you've bought in the past years that you realise isn't useful anymore. Post it in the comment below. Let's support each other. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and share it with your friends who might benefit. Thank you for listening.